The world is veiled in darkness. The wind stops, the sea is wild, and the earth begins to rot. The people wait, their only hope, a prophecy. When the world has died dark, 4 warriors will come. After a long journey, 4 youths arrive, each holding a crystal. Hello, humans and animals alike, this is Dylus, and welcome to Final Fantasy Restored. This is a ROM hack of the original Final Fantasy for the NES, and this is designed to be a sort of restoration for the original NES game, because, as some of you may know, the original NES game is filled to the brim with bugs, and this hack attempts to fix all those bugs, and it also doubles as a retranslation project. So, yeah, this is pretty much the best way to play the NES version of Final Fantasy. Now, of course, there are other remasters available on the market, but for those of you who want to have the old retro experience of playing the original Final Fantasy, because it does have some of its perks, then this is really the best way to play it. So, with all that said, let's start a new game. Now, before you start a new game, there's something important you should take notice of: the battle speed. It's called the respawn rate in the original NES version. For some reason, it always defaults to 1 in the original, and that makes battles painfully slow, so you don't want it set to 1. I find it comfortable to set the battle speed to 6, maybe 5. I'll set it to 6, so yeah, be sure to change the battle speed. Alright, so now let's start a new game. Before the game actually starts, you have 4 Warriors of Light, and you can customize them however you want. There are 6 jobs available for each of the 4 warriors. We have the Fighter, the Thief, Monk, Red Mage, White Mage, and Black Mage. I will be discussing briefly how all of these jobs work. So, the Fighter has great physical prowess, defense, and HP, and surprisingly agile. His main thing is that, well, other than his great power and defenses, he is able to equip many weapons and armor that many other jobs cannot. So, do take that into consideration. Fighters are great to have on the front lines, because they can just take a lot of damage with the armor they equip. They are expensive to keep optimal, but yeah, it's well worth investing in the Fighter if you have one on your team. Next up is the Thief, who has high agility for easy evasion, and agility, I believe, also determines who goes first in battle. It's not like anyone who has the highest agility is guaranteed a first spot in battle, but I believe it helps. I don't know exactly for sure. He also has high luck, which helps with running away from battles, so it makes for a good beginner's job, because, well, you may need to run away from battles when you're not familiar with what's coming up. Unfortunately, the Thief has pretty average strength and HP, so, he also equips only light swords and armor. It makes him a fairly cheap character to invest in, but, of course, he's no fighter, so keep that in mind. Oh yeah, and the Thief can't steal in this game. That's not until later games, so keep that in mind. Next up is the Monk, who, also known as the Black Belt. He has great physical prowess and HP, just like the fighter, but doesn't have the best defense right out of the gate. However, the biggest perk about him is that he can fight barehanded, at least after a while. He'll have to equip nunchucks for, like, the beginning levels, but eventually he'll just fight to his bare hands, and that makes him the cheapest asset to the team. Next up is the Red Mage, who is the jack of all trades. Average stats all around, can equip various weapons, armor, and magic early in the game, white and black magic. However, the big thing about the Red Mage is that, while he is great at the beginning of the game, he falls off in usefulness by the end of the game. He's also very expensive to keep optimized because, well, you have to consider weapons, armor, and magic. The White Mage specializes in white magic, which is used for healing and protection, has high intelligence and vitality, but is fairly weak in other areas. You probably would definitely want a White Mage in the group for healing. The Red Mage can suffice as well, but I prefer the White Mage, personally. And finally, we have the Black Mage, who specializes in black magic for damage and status effects. The Black Mage has high intelligence but low strength and vitality. You'll always want to keep the Black Mage in the back row, because, well, he's very frail. Alright, so with that in mind, it's time to pick our team. So, for the party that I'm going to be using, well, I'm not going to be using a fighter for this playthrough. Basically, everybody and their mother uses a fighter on their team, and I don't blame them. The fighter is a very good job for the team. But since pretty much every walkthrough out there, like, has a fighter on their team, I'd rather just go for something different. So, I'm going to select the Thief first. And, yeah, I picked out names beforehand, just to save some time. You are going to be named Jed. Next up, I want to have a monk, and his name will be Bruno. Now, if I were to put myself as a warrior and what job I would pick, I would probably be the White Mage. So, yeah, I'll name the White Mage after myself. Dylus. And finally, I would love to have a Black Mage. I really like using magic, okay? And you are going to be named Cyrus. Alright, so we have Jed the Thief, Bruno the Monk, Dylus the White Mage, and Cyrus the Black Mage. When you're all done and good with your party setup, well, there's no turning back when you press the A button, so make sure this is what you want. You can always change it by starting a new game, though. So, just experiment during the first few hours of the game and see what makes you happy. So, with all that said, let's get started. So, here we are, just plopped into this region here. We're not given any sort of backstory. The Warriors of Light just don't really have any backstories. I guess they're just, like, the most mysterious characters out there, because we don't know where they came from. They hear of a prophecy, but here they are. His Majesty seeks the Light Warriors. Could it be? Alright, let's go up the stairs and enter the King's Chamber. Talk to the King. Light Warriors, Lucan's prophecy has come to fruition. Please hear my request. Garland has kidnapped the princess. Please rescue her. Great. Another rescue the princess plot. How original. But we don't know where Garland might have taken the princess. Let's see if we could get any information. Sources say that Garland took Princess Sarah to the Chaos Shrine up north. Ah, okay. So we gotta go north to the Temple of Chaos, or the Chaos Shrine. Her Majesty is overcome with sadness and won't leave her room. I am Queen Jane. Please save Princess Sarah. Alright. So, I believe Sarah is Jane's daughter. Now this woman here, the princess was looking for you. In the original NES version, this woman was invisible, although she is still counted as a solid object and interactive, so you can still talk to her even without seeing her. For some reason, later releases of this game just remove her entirely, which is a shame. Garland was a good knight long ago. If only that thing never happened. What thing? I guess we'll not know. Oh yeah, I have a run button that I can use to help speed things up. And you're crying. Yeah, Final Fantasy Restored is not just a bug fix and retranslation, it's also just an overall improvement of the game. 400 years ago, our ancestors sealed weapons in this treasure room, and gave the key to the Elf King to hold until the arrival of the Light Warriors. So, yeah, there's the treasury there, but we can't do anything about it because we don't have the key for them. So, I guess we know where to go. It's up north. But the thing is, we're not well equipped for the job. Yeah, we're supposedly light warriors, but we didn't bring anything with us. We don't have armor, weapons, items, nothing. So, we're gonna have to go into town and buy our weapons and armor and stuff. So this is Cornelia, the City of Dreams. Now, in an RPG, I am talking to everybody here. You want to make a habit of that whenever you play RPGs. I mean, you don't have to if you're using a walkthrough, but it's a good habit to get into. A well. It's just an ordinary well. You might think that there's something to it, but in fact it is just an ordinary well. Yeah, save the princess. Gotcha. Sage Lucan said he was off to the Crescent Moon, and then left town. What does he mean by that? Well, I guess we'll figure that out later. The king believes in Sage Lucan's prophecy that the Light Warriors will appear and save the kidnapped princess. Oh, so the princess being rescued by the Light Warriors is part of the prophecy? Okay. I thought it was just about 4 crystals or something. I once lived far east in the harbor city of Provoca. Okay, we'll have to check that place out when we can. Alright, so now for the shops. This is the item shop. When you see a house with a jug on the roof, you can buy items here. Potions for restoring HP, antidotes for healing poison, and sleep sacks for recovering HP out in the overworld. It's also a way to save your game in the overworld. Yeah, the thing about saving in Final Fantasy 1 is that you can't just do it in the menu anytime you want. You have to either use a sleep sack or some similar item, or you go to rest at the inn. So, Cornelia's Inn, you stay here, pay 30 gil, you will heal all of your HP and magic points, and it also allows you to save your game. So yes, you have to pay to save your game. You might think this is kind of a troublesome thing, but really it's not. Okay, next up is the weapon shop, the building with the sword on it. So, if I may pull up my weapon list, yeah, we have a staff that almost everybody can equip. Only the thief is not able to equip this one. So, very versatile. The knife is a good weapon for a black mage. It's more accurate than the staff. It does deal less damage, though. The rapier is a fighter, thief, and red mage's best weapon for this point in the game. The hammer is for the white mage. Yeah, white mages equip hammers rather than staves, so keep that in mind. And nunchucks are for monks. Okay, so with that, let's just give everybody their weapons. Yeah, I suppose I'll take the knife. The knife and the staff, I could say, just pick whatever you want for your black mage. I'll pick the knife. And the hammer for me. So now what we gotta do is press start to go to our menu, go to weapon, and then equip our weapons. You don't equip them automatically like in Dragon Quest, so keep that in mind. I heard some people back in the day didn't know about this equipping thing, and I feel bad for them. Next up is the armor shop with the shield on the building. So we have clothes, which anybody can equip. They provide the weakest defense, but they leave the thing about armor is that they have weight to them. Any weight that it has decreases the equipper's evasion, so you'll want to keep that in mind, that heavier armor will allow for less evasion. So clothes will allow sufficient evasion, but it's also the only armor that white mages and black mages can equip for right now, so yeah. The leather armor, that can be equipped by, yeah, the fighter, black belt, thief, and red mage. And the chainmail, fighter, and red mage can equip this. Unfortunately, I have nobody who can equip the chainmail, so you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm just going to get the, leather armor for Jed and Bruno, but I'm not gonna give the mages clothes. Jeez, take that out of context. The reason why is because, the clothes, while they do give an additional 1 defense, their evasion gets knocked down 2 points. So, if they're not going to get that much, defense, and they're gonna be in the back row at all times, I should probably just have them focus on evading attacks if they get hit, if they, like, are targeted by monsters. Finally, we have the magic shops. This is the white magic shop. So we have 4 spells here. We have Cure, which restores a little HP to an ally, between 16 to 32, specifically. Dia hurts all undead enemies for 20 to 80 HP. Protect increases an ally's defense by 8, and Blink increases the evasion of the caster by 80%. Now, yeah, the thing about Blink is that it only works on the caster, and while it could be useful when you have a fairly weak setup defensively, like you just have mages, or you don't have a fighter, monk, or red mage, I would invest in Blink. But, honestly, I think these three up here, the top three here, are better investments in most setups. So, as for which one I'll get right now, I think I'll take Protect. And then there's the Black Magic Shop. So this is where Cyrus will shine. The first magic spell is Fire, which deals fire elemental damage, 10 to 40 damage. Thunder deals 10 to 40 thunder damage. Now, with the elements, if an enemy is weak to an element, like say, an enemy is weak to fire and we cast fire on it, the effectiveness of that spell doubles. So if it was about to do 20 damage, it will instead do 40. So keep that in mind. Focus decreases the evasion of one enemy by 10%. However, this is called Lock in the original NES localization. In the original NES version, excuse me, in the original NES version, the lock spell is bugged, and it always misses. So, do not get this spell if you're playing the original NES version. And then Sleep puts all enemies to sleep, or attempts to. Unfortunately, in the original NES version, all Sleep ever does is just waste one turn, really, for whoever's fallen asleep. They'll always wake up on the next turn. This is changed in the restored version so that it's only a chance of waking up every turn. Alright, so the first spell you should get is Fire, most definitely. Okay, and with all that, it's time we go outside. Oh, wait, I did equip the armor, right? Yeah. So, we have our magic here. I'll explain how magic works in the next episode. And, yeah. Oh yeah, there's one more thing to show. Up here, past the item shop, we have the church, or the clinic. What the church does is that if you pay them when a warrior is fallen in battle, the warrior would be revived, but just be careful as it will only have 1 HP. The warrior will only have 1 HP, so you should heal it with healing spells or potions or rest in an inn. Just remember that church services are more expensive than staying at an inn, so don't let anyone fall in battle. Who knew churches could actually be so greedy? Anyway, I think it's time we stop this episode here. Next time on Final Fantasy Restored, we will be introducing battles and make our way to the Chaos Shrine to see if we can rescue Princess Sarah from the evil knight Garland. It doesn't sound that threatening. He's named after a Christmas decoration. Alright, so with all that said, this is Stylus, signing off.